The market hits a top, but everyone's looking at this completely wrong. Money's rotating to some obvious sectors, and there's huge opportunities over the next 3 and 6 months if you know how to spot them. So inside this video, we'll keep it short and simple, give you the top 3 plays, show you the macros that should play out over the next year to help you understand how to play the markets and how to look at opportunities. Because at the end of the day, you can see my indicator here is flashing red. This is the first red signal of a top in the markets. This happened over here, big pullback around August actually. Happened here, big pullback in April. This is my number one way to spot pullbacks and spot tops. But right now, I don't think this is a top, at least not over the next 60 days. More data needs to show and more weakness needs to appear, because the obvious thing that's happening is this is just a small rotation from the big easy money plays to the things that were under loved and not looked at. We see XLU. Utilities are absolutely taking off. This is one trade I've been looking at, trying to spot, trying to position into for the past couple months. Yeah, I've been early, but honestly, it's starting to play out now. The number one trade is XLU. The reason why, it's a utilities ETF. So you don't have to singularly pick the stock. You can just pick the basket, buy some leaps, and have that leverage work out for you. Honestly, this couldn't be any better. As you can see, my indicator's lighting up for a bottom signal here too. Easy peasy. So what we're looking for is the all-time high to run. So whenever I look at a pullback, all I'm looking for is a push to a new high. And what I love to see is the markets give me the green light. So for XLU to hit $48 and $50, let's go the option chain and see what this could be. If I type in XLU on our leap picker, it's going to pick something 300 days out, 10% out of the money. That's the system I use to buy leaps. So if we hit $50, which I think is going to happen, even 52, we're probably going to make 70 to 120% return. Maybe 40, maybe 90. Depends on how long this takes. But the key here is we just started to move. We just started to get the momentum. And if you look at the macro on this, the data centers are going to make energy costs substantially higher. The demand is going to drive substantially higher for energy, which it means that energy companies and utility companies are positioned to win not for the next 6 months, but really for the next 6 years. So this is a macro play I'm absolutely pumped about. One singularly company I like is SO. If I had to spot one company, and now it has an engulfing candle, an engulfing monthly candle. This is one of my favorite candles to play off of, because when you see it up here, you're likely to get a move the next month and the next month. So likely to see at least 1 to 2 candles higher. So XLU, safer play. There's some singular stocks you can pick out of the bunch, but this is a solid sector to look at, honestly. So the next thing I'm spotting is going to be the UBER. So Uber, same thing. A lot of green lights down here. Bam, 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 bam. What I do see is that this is consolidated for 4 months. And the big thing I look for when I try to enter into a play and use a lot of size is I want to see discounts. I want to see sideways action. And that's where we see reversals, but also the start of like a multi-month move or, multi-100% move. Who knows? The point is, we love Uber on this channel. It's one of the top 10 stocks I talk about for the past 3 years. And you make money, you lose money with leaps. You can't time this stuff perfectly all the time, but you have to stick to your theses at the end of the day and just keep playing them, keep ripping them. Because right now, Uber is back into activation mode in my mind. It's the same candle engulfing at this bottom with a green light, and we're looking for this to push to an all-time high. But unlike XLU, Uber has a long way to go, which means more potential profit. And there are a lot of opportunities to look at this and say, this is a solid bet with fundamentals, with the chart, with the macros, with robotics, robotaxis, all that stuff. It's set up for a good win here. If I go to the leap picker from our software, we got 350 days, 85 calls. I mean, we could push this to 95 for the strike price because that's where our profit target is, or we could keep it at 85. Nothing's wrong with that, but this could be a 200% win. But that's really the starting spot, because I'm always looking for not just a touch to a high, but a push over it. So like I said, XLU shows 50, which is like a $2 push over. 10% over this high would be like 110, 120, around that area, which would be 300, 400% win here, depending on the timeline you get in and the timeline it runs. So what I love to do is option sell. I'll show you the strategies to sell options on these theses in a second, but let me show you the third play. TEM, Tempest AI. Wouldn't you know, it's a pretty similar candle, engulfing on the monthly. And that's how you know I'm playing by a system at the end of the day, when I can show you something that looks absolutely identical on 3 charts in a row. I was trying to find bearish plays. I was trying to hedge today when I opened up my laptop. But what showed up to me was bullish plays, and some of the most obvious bullish plays I ever see. So while we like to play the direction, the narrative in the market, the headlines we see now, sometimes the obvious thing is just to play what your system says. If you don't have a system, if you don't have a mental framework, a candlestick analysis to understand what to even look at, you're just playing and getting sucked into media headlines, which is really a hard way to make money. But Tempest AI is a healthcare AI play, and ARK is big on buying it, but we do see a consolidation breakout. Just like Uber, just like a lot of these setups, I do like discounts, pauses, and I like that green light system. Green light, candlestick ripping. What I want to see is this push to a new high. Plain and simple, same thesis as the last couple plays, but we got a heck of a runway here. Basically, if you were to just buy and hold the stock, you would likely double your money, which means if you bought leaps on this thing, you're going to be hitting 300, 400, 500% because of how volatile and how much upside this is. So 75 on those suckers. That 75 strike would be the most aggressive, but that's a strike I think is reasonable to hit. That means, again, we are hitting some insane pops here if we hit the $100 mark. So Tempest, Uber, XLU, how do we play these if we want to option sell? Because as you know, we are absolutely cooking in this market, selling options, making money on a 1-year win streak. And we just closed some recent trades that got us signed. Which means, guess what? We get assigned Ethereum and we get the premium. That's called a win. And we also get the stock. That's another win. So yeah, we're holding some stocks right now. But the best part about the system I teach is you never have to lock in a loss if you don't want to. If you can stay patient, if you can position through, be kind of someone who can size into it every time you get assigned, that's the number one way to make money in the markets, is to use the discounts to add. Use the lower RSIs, use these generational entries to develop a big size for yourself. So this system is absolutely killer. I want to teach you how to play it with some of these stocks. So the secret to what we do is we type in UBRL. This is Uber 2X Fund. So Uber, if it goes up $1, this goes up $2. Really simple. This has sometimes an option chain if you type it in. This allows you to sell puts, but make double the income. With a 70% IV, you're making some pretty serious money every single day passively. And if anything goes wrong, like I just showed you, you still make the money, but you pick up the stock. And that's a win-win if you pick the stocks you love. If you pick the stocks you're proud to own at a discount and you don't mind reselling puts, making more income, getting more stock. Really simple. You can sell at the money, you can sell out of the money. There's 2 ways to sell depending on how aggressively you would want to own a stock. But UBRL is a great one to pick up because if you do, you hold it, you can double your money on a bull run. Same thing, XLU has UTLS. This is a utilities 2x ETF, I believe. But as you can see in the last weekly candle, if you were blessed enough to get assigned and you held it, you would have 11% return from just the stock move. And that's just in a single week. So if you were to hold this to the all-time highs, that is a 30% return. This is for people that might have big accounts, people that don't want to swing for the fences. The strategy of option selling is a much safer one, and it's much more comfortable, because what's the drawdown of this if things go wrong? Oh no, 28%. Like, that does not feel terrible versus a leap. A leap will go down to 0. This is down 26%. So pullbacks on leveraged ETFs are not as bad as people make it out to be. And when you say, oh yeah, there's this decay over a long period of time, I say BS. Because 2018, when this stock opened up till today, it's actually 64% higher over the last 10 years. So what decay happens on leverage ETFs? It's all in the headlines. It's all from the people that don't really do this stuff. So that's a really cool hack right there. And then Tempest AI, guess what? You just use Tempest AI. If you can double your money from the stock, don't use leveraged ETFs. If the stock can make substantial returns, don't put on the risk of a leveraged ETF. So Tempest AI TEM, you sell this put, that's 70% IV, pretty similar to UTLS, X, and UBRL. So at the money, out of the money, you have your options here. What you want to do is make these returns, these strike prices we're targeting, and that's the bread and butter we try to teach. So macro thesis, markets are fine, everybody. They're going to pull back 10, 20%. That's it. Right now, we're down 6%. So most of the pain is already here. So now you're trying to position in. You're trying to find your stocks. You're trying to figure out how you want to make money during the next bull run. Because the last bull run from April till now made generational wealth for a lot of people. But if they didn't have a plan, if they didn't have a favorite list of stocks to target, they just watched this bull run and then started buying at the top and then got pretty pissed off, which I would assume is the case for some people, maybe most people, who knows. But the people who crush it are the ones who are very methodical, and they take ownership of the trades, they take ownership of the tickers with a full and complete plan. So this pullback, maybe it goes down 5%. Oh well. Maybe it goes down another 15% from the highs, or 10% from here. That would be really painful. I don't think it's going to happen. For the most part, August is a weak month. September is a weak month. I think July, you have a time to make money, and then you position to win. You look for your discounts, you look for your massive corrections in September, August, and then you position to win for the rest of the year. So get ready, be prepared on this channel. We have trades we give out, but trades don't make full-time income, right? They just get you in the game of learning and taking ownership. And then you start to develop out your system, your stocks, and then you make full-time income. All we do on this channel is just give you guys a peek of what it's like to look at the markets, the candlesticks, and the trades. But until you can have a full plan and integrate option selling for severe safety and downside risk is mitigated, it's going to be hard to really crush it. So again, focus on the progress, the process, the time in the game, the reps in the game, and everything will come together. The last thing I'll leave you guys with is Ethereum is perfectly playing out in my game plan. I have a 40-minute video I gave to the students, a 10-page blog document, and you guys can read this, have it for free. Basically, October is the bottom. October is the bottom for crypto, and we are 60 days left because the crypto cycles are insanely predictable. We have a 4-year cycle, which means from the bottom of the market to the top of the market, it's literally 48 to 47 months. How crazy is that? So right now, the top came in, and what happens after the top? You have an average of a 12-month correction from the top to the next bottom. But from there, you have another clear push where it could be 4 years. So 3-4 years of a bull market in front of us. The institutions, the world banks are positioning into crypto, building on crypto, writing clarity acts in the next month, voting on them. There's some insane stuff happening in this space. I can't say how pumped I am. I can't even tell you unless you would see my accounts. Then you would know how jazzed up I am about crypto. But this is probably one of my biggest bets in history. I'd love to give you more details over the next couple of weeks, but this is nuts. So we have 10 months in this bear market right now that we're seeing. The average is 12, which means we have 60 days left. Isn't that nuts? We're so close to the bottom. But I did some research. I figured out some interesting stuff. Basically, crypto, in some cases, bottoms before August and October. And the last bottom, if I look over here, as you can see, was June. And wouldn't you know, it's June. So we didn't really fall much lower than this low. But this is a great time to position in. Because if you bought from June till here, you didn't have to think about it for the next 3 years. Because Bitcoin went from 15K all the way up to 120. That was almost 1,000% return. And you had a green light to kind of start positioning in from June. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to teach a lot of the top tier students to do in our program. It's wild. It's nuts. I'm pumped. Hopefully you guys are pumped too. If you guys want to trade with us, listen, we are one of the top coaching programs on the internet that has a system, has a software, has multiple 6-figure traders live streaming every week to teach you how to do it, to give you the trades. If you want to follow the historic 1-year win rate, at this point, it's going to keep going. Join us. Fill out an application with the link below. We'll love to have you guys in the program. We'll love to help you win in the markets and help you win with lower risk. So this is a fun time to position in. Like I've said, the markets are going to get cheap. They're going to set up for a generational entry soon. Crypto alone is going to set up for one of the best entries in the last 4 years. This is a huge time to be prepared, to have the right education, to have the right game plan for how you're going to look at the markets, what you're going to buy, what you're going to sell. This is an awesome time. I'm so pumped up, everybody. Have a good week. Be safe. And then I'll link my second YouTube video to the right of me. We're dropping some insane knowledge. We just interviewed Isaac on the last video, who went from 140K to 2.2 million in 18-month stretch. That's insane. Peace, everybody.